All right, let's get right into it. We are digging into one of China's great epic novels, Water Margin, to uncover the origin story of its very first hero. This is all about how a man born with every advantage ends up an outcast. A hero not by choice, but because the world forced his hand. This is the story of Shi Jin, the nine-tattooed dragon.
And that's really the big question here, isn't it? How does a guy who has it all, a wealthy young noble, supposed to uphold the law, end up on a wanted poster, fighting for his life? Well, the answer isn't so simple. And, funny enough, the story doesn't even start with him. It starts with the rot in the system he was born into.
You see, to really get why a hero needs to be forged in the first place, you have to look at the world that's crying out for one. And our story kicks off with a perfect example of that world's corruption, a man named Gao Q. His story shows you everything you need to know about a system where who you know, not what you can do, is all that matters.
So, Gao Qiu, he starts out as basically a street tough, a local troublemaker. His one and only real talent is that he's weirdly good at a game called Kuju, think ancient-style kickball. Yeah, that's it. Not exactly the kind of stuff you put on a resume for a leadership position, right?
But then, one day, fate intervenes. He's running an errand, a stray ball comes flying at him, and he just instinctively does this incredible trick to send it back. And who happens to see it? A prince. And just like that, a random display of kickball skill catches the eye of a royal, and Gao Qiu's entire life is about to change.
Before you know it, that prince becomes the emperor, and Gao Qiu, the kickball-playing thug from the streets, gets promoted all the way up to grand marshal. We're talking head of the entire imperial military. No experience, no merit, just a knack for flattery and kicking a ball. That tells you everything about the state of this empire. So what's the very first thing a guy like Gao Qiu does with that kind of unearned power? Well, he does what petty people do. He decides to settle an old score. And this one act of spite is the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that will eventually create our hero.
See, Gao Qiu remembers this one military instructor, a man named Wang Jin, whose father had beaten him years ago. So on his first day as marshal, he tries to get Wang Jin arrested on some bogus charge. Wang Jin is no fool. He knows he can't win against that kind of corruption. So he has no choice but to flee in the middle of the night with his old mother, leaving his entire life behind, all because of a petty grudge.
And this is where things get interesting. This is where fates collide, because Wang Jin, the fugitive master running from a corrupt government, is about to stumble right into the life of the young man who will one day challenge that very same system.
And here he is, Shi Jin. He's the son of a rich landowner. He's strong, he's passionate, and he is obsessed with martial arts. So much so that he's had his whole torso and his arms tattooed with 9 massive dragons. He's got all the potential in the world, but he's also kind of arrogant. He thinks he's the best, but he's never actually met a real master. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. So in this weary traveler, Wang Jin points out a few flaws in his technique. Shi Jin's pride gets the better of him. He demands a duel. And, well, it's not even a fight. Wang Jin basically toys with him, dodging every clumsy attack until, in one clean move, he disarms him and throws him to the ground. And in that one moment of utter defeat, all of Shi Jin's arrogance just evaporates. He sees what true skill looks like, and he immediately kneels and begs this stranger to be his master. And for the next 6 months, that's exactly what happens. Wang Jin pours all his knowledge into his new student. Shi Jin, now humbled and dedicated, masters all 18 forms of martial arts. That raw talent is finally shaped into real, disciplined skill. He's not just a rich kid playing at being a warrior anymore. Now, he's the real deal. Eventually, Wang Jin has to move on, leaving a profoundly changed Shi Jin behind. And it doesn't take long for our newly minted warrior to face his first real test. But this one, it's not a test of strength, it's a test of character.
Word gets out that a gang of outlaws from the nearby Mount Hua are planning a raid. Now, as the local lord, it's Shi Jin's job to protect his people, so he gathers his men, ready to put all of his new training to use and defend his village.
And when the outlaws attack, they're just no match for him. Shi Jin rides out, and in a really impressive display of skill, he single-handedly defeats and captures one of their leaders, a guy named Chen Da. It looks like a clear win for the good guys, for law and order. Or so it seems. Because then something unexpected happens. The other 2 outlaw leaders show up, but they don't come to fight. They come to surrender.
They explain that the three of them are sworn brothers, that they were good men who were forced into this life by poverty and a corrupt government. They know they can't free their friend, so they've only come to ask that they be executed together.
And this right here is the moment. Shi Jin has a choice. The law says these men are criminals, period. But he's so moved by their loyalty, by their code of honor, that he sees something more. He realizes that justice written by men like Gao Q isn't the only kind of justice there is, so he makes a choice that will change his life forever. He sets them free. And he becomes their friend.
And that one act of compassion, choosing personal honor over the letter of the law, that's it. That's the point of no return. It puts him on a collision course with the very same corrupt state that his own master had to run away from. Things fall apart so fast after that. A letter he sends to his new friends gets found, and suddenly, government troops have his entire estate surrounded. The authorities give him an ultimatum: give up the outlaws or you're a traitor too. But for the man Shi Jin has become, that's no choice at all. In one last incredible act of defiance, he sets his own mansion on fire, burning his inheritance, his name, his entire past to the ground. And he charges out of those flames, no longer a lord, but an outlaw, fighting for his life alongside his new brother.
Just look at that transformation. He went from a wealthy landowner to a penniless wanderer, from a defender of the law to a wanted fugitive. He started as an arrogant kid and became a sworn brother, willing to sacrifice everything for his friends. He was a lord, and now he's an outlaw. He gave up everything society values to hold on to something he decided was more important: his honor.
And that's really the heart of his story. It shows you that in a world that's become fundamentally unjust, sometimes the only path to real honor is to become an outlaw. Shi Jin had to literally burn his old life to the ground to forge a new one. He had to destroy the Lord to become the hero.
Which leaves us with one last lingering question. He's made his choice. He's been forged in the fire of injustice. But for him, and for the other heroes who will soon join him, in a world this broken, where does the path of an honorable outlaw actually lead? Well, that is the beginning of a very long story.